How come there's no right-wing guys like that to do it the other direction?
I always wonder that too.
I always wonder that. Well, it's also like if you look at the amount of donors that donate
Pause
to
it.
the left.
Keep them up there. I always wonder that, but I don't have any mechanism in which to do even 10 minutes of research to see if it's true, because I've never seen a computer.
Joe Rogan is triggering all of the woke idiots into unhinged meltdowns. Yesterday, we saw Destiny meltdown over things that Joe Rogan said on his podcast, and now we have Sam Seder with a much bigger meltdown, a much more embarrassing meltdown here. Sam Seder has on his show The Majority Report after Joe Rogan destroys all of the woke talking points live on his show. Of course, Sam Seder tries to frame this in a way that makes Joe Rogan look ridiculous, but it doesn't really work if you have an actual functioning brain, which Sam Seder does not. Let's get into this clip here from the Joe Rogan Experience and from Sam Seder of Joe Rogan destroying these woke idiots, including Sam Seder, and then Sam having an absolute meltdown afterwards.
Joe Rogan speaking with political commentator Sean Ryan. To be honest with you, I didn't know who it was when I watched it. I don't know who it is now. I didn't even know who that the controversy about that singer.
Chappell Roan?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What?
I had no idea. That, like, I kept seeing like references to.
She's your favorite artist. Just keep going.
Okay. And so this is, I'll tell you why this is good. Because what I find fascinating about this is not that Joe Rogan is spectacularly wrong and completely misinformed, because that happens all the time with him. And it's good that they have him being fact-checked in real time, because I think probably Spotify is worried, particularly in the wake of this Section 230 suit against TikTok, because I think they feel like their protections may be coming to an end, which I wholeheartedly endorse, incidentally, because they publish him. They pay him $230 million, and they can't pretend like, oh, it's a whatever. Arm's length deal. You pay $230 million for this guy. What I find fascinating about this is the depth of conviction that Joe Rogan has about something that he obviously knows nothing about and has obviously done no work. And not just the depth of conviction about these like sort of narrow facts, but that how it is both indicative of what he reads, the depth of how he actually investigates something, but then how he begins to build out an entire worldview that is predicated on a couple of these facts and ideas that are completely wrong, right? Like this is like fully equivalent to things have gotten so out of hand that there are cat litter, that that kids are coming in and identifying as cats.
He claims he heard that from somebody he knows who works at the school.
And maybe he did, but maybe you should not believe the lunatics that you've surrounded yourself with, and misinterpret.
It's so disingenuous, man, coming from Sam Seder. Joe Rogan does a podcast. He has the Joe Rogan podcast. This podcast is not supposed to be a professional news network. What you're supposed to do on the Joe Rogan podcast is talk about your DMT trips and talk about insane things that your friends told you, and just have a fun conversation about the crazy things happening in the world, whether it's political or not. So Joe Rogan just brought up, and this is not even what the topic of today's video is, but he brought it up for whatever reason, the fact that Joe Rogan one time mentioned that somebody who's a teacher at a school told him that they had a child at their school brought cat litter in and identified as a cat. And Joe Rogan brought that up on his podcast, and they're using this. Sam Seder, Emma Vigeland, and all these other woke idiots out there are using this instance to like discredit Joe Rogan into thinking that he's spreading right-wing propaganda because of how ridiculous that is. It's like Joe Rogan's podcast is just a podcast. It's not like Fox News where everything that needs to be mentioned has to be 100% factual. It's like, it's a podcast, dude. It's a bunch of regular dudes just having conversations about crazy shit that they heard or seen or did or whatever.
Situation where like in one or two classrooms in the country, people put in cat litter because in the event of a lockdown, the kids can't go to the bathroom. But putting that aside, the way that these facts he takes it and it just builds out an entire worldview, then the facts get completely, he's got them 180 degrees wrong. but it will not change his worldview one iota. It is like he builds a tent. The tent poles are made out of crepe paper. There's a little bit of a rain that comes through. The crepe paper falls apart, but the tent stays floating above. Good.
Wild thing to say. It's such a wild thing to say. And it's such a wild thing to do, like a supervillain in a Batman movie. Like some billionaire guy who likes to hire the most progressive district attorneys that's going to let people out of jail and
Pause
then
it for 1
fund the
second.
next
Incidentally, you assume he's talking about Soros, who incidentally does not hire district attorneys.
If you enjoy content like this, to make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
And the amount of funding that Soros puts into any district attorney race is so dwarfed. First off, George Soros has about 1/20th the amount of money that Elon Musk has.
Right.
Like, the number of billionaires on the right are huge, but this guy, in his mind, George Soros is like, the guy from the Austin Powers movies.
Dr. Evil.
Dr. Evil, who's got the ability to control all these things. And there's no right-wingers out there, and listen to how he's convinced himself about these two stories of two district attorneys who got, some campaign money
From Soros.
From a Soros affiliated group.
I mean, come on, though. Yeah, he's Dr. Evil, or is he a puppet master trying to control everybody?
He can be both at the same time because he's that super villainous. But I just want you to understand where he's going off on this.
Do you guys see? This is the same exact thing. What Sam Seder is doing is the same exact thing that Destiny was doing. They're so brainwashed. People like Sam Seder, people like Destiny, Emma Vigeland, everybody on the majority report, everybody on the woke left, they're so brainwashed to think like no matter what, people like Joe Rogan are wrong. People who question the establishment are wrong, that they're now defending people like George Soros. And like, if you just zoom out and objectively look at the situation, things that Soros has done have been pretty detrimental to society, right? You would think that everybody with a functioning brain would be able to admit that. The only problem being that Sam Seder doesn't have that part of the functioning brain. And Destiny was doing the same thing yesterday where Joe Rogan was questioning, just saying it's an interesting thought with Matt Walsh. Joe Rogan was talking with Matt Walsh and saying that the moon landing is interesting. It's a complicated issue. And Destiny just lost his mind because they're so trained to think anyone who is targeting or questioning the establishment, we must attack them and defend the establishment at all costs. Sam Seder is taking that to such an extreme that he's now defending George Soros because it doesn't matter what they have to defend as long as they're making sure to tear down people like Joe Rogan. That's the only thing that matters to them.
Now, go ahead.
District attorneys that's going to let people out of jail and then fund the next person who's more to the left of that person and just keep pushing it. Keep pushing it.
Also, crime is down.
Violence in the streets,
Violent crime is down.
He's done a damn good job.
How come there's no right-wing guys like that to do it the other direction?
I always wonder that too.
I always wonder that. Well, it's also like if you look at the amount of donors that donate
Pause
to
it.
the
Don't
left
keep them up there. I always wonder that, but I don't have any mechanism in which to do even 10 minutes of research to see if it's true, because I've never seen a computer.
Timothy Mellon this cycle, Republican railroad
Whoa. Don't jump the gun. Go.
Okay, sorry.
Well, it's also like if you look at the amount of donors that donate to the left versus donate to the right. Have you ever seen that chart?
No.
Whoa, I've seen that
nuts.
chart.
The left gets so many more donations than the right does. Like, it's a giant difference.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, man. I think a lot of rich people feel guilty, and they get into philanthropy, and it also is a good way to cover their ass and make them look like better people. And the people that really go after you, if they don't think you're a good person, are generally the left. So
Dude, I don't think it's any of these things that Joe Rogan is saying. I think, and I'm not saying that the right wing is perfect or anything. Obviously, there's a lot of issues with Republican politicians for sure. I think that the left don't really stand for anything at all. They'll stand for whatever they get paid to stand for. So basically what I'm trying to say is left-wing politicians, when you donate to them, it's a lot easier to buy them, to get them to do your bidding. I think that's why they get much more donations, because they're a lot easier to manipulate with money. Because the right wingers, at least they normally stand for something, right? They normally have some kind of Christian traditional values, but the left wingers, they don't have anywhere to pull their morality from. They don't have any morals or ethics or values or anything like that. So it's harder to bribe a right winger with donations than it is to bribe a left winger with donations. That's just facts. I think that's where it comes from. Let me know in the comments where you think it comes from, but I think it's pretty obviously that.
So if you could like throw them a little cheddar, you like
pause it. Don't take him down. This is a theory of someone who has spent a lot of time thinking about this, right? This is his whole explanation for what motivates people who come out with stuff about the left. What motivates this? He's wrong about crime. And so like think of all the things that could spin off. He could spend 2 hours philosophizing based upon this belief that he has about the funding on the left. Go.
So if you could like throw them a little cheddar, you like
I wonder
on your side.
I wonder if they're buying their place outside of the rules. Like, hey, I donated to your thing. You know, I don't have to live by these fucking rules.
Got to be a little bit of that in there, you know?
This
What do you
list
got,
shows
Jimmy?
the top donors to OpenSecrets.org. 6 of the top 7 are Republicans.
Oh,
Individual
interesting.
donors, individual
Oh,
companies.
individual donors.
It's
What
100
I
million.
was talking about was like they showed a
Pause it
chart.
for a second. Okay, wait. Now he is talking about, now you can put me up there because we're going into phase 2 now. Oh, everything I was just saying about George Soros as an individual donor, that's not what I meant. That's not what I was talking about. That's not what I was talking about. That they were doing it because they don't want to be attacked personally, right? They don't want to be attacked personally. That's not what I was referencing when I said personally they don't want to be attacked and how they can operate outside the rules. No, that wasn't what I was talking about. I was talking about a different chart that I saw, which, and I think, folks, you know how this story works out. Go.
6 of the top 7 are Republicans.
Oh,
Individual
interesting.
donors, individual
Oh,
companies.
individual donors.
It's
What
100 million.
I was talking about was like they showed a chart that had like Google, Facebook, all these mega corporations that were donating. So this is like individual donors.
Yeah.
Pause it for a second.
Wow, some guys.
Now,
Yeah, this makes sense, right? And Sam Seder, like, they're trying to use this to make him look like an idiot, but that makes complete sense. Of course, the individual donors lean more Republican, lean more right wing, because the left wingers are socialist. If you're an independent, independent donator, and you're the top ones, that means you're very rich. You've created wealth in some sort of way, and you're not going to. Most people with functioning brains, once again, I have to keep giving this disclaimer because there are exceptions. There's people like Sam Seder and Hassan Piker and these idiots who get rich and are still left wingers because they got rich by being left wingers. But anybody who got rich by not being a left winger, they're not going to be a socialist. They're not going to be like Sam Seder or Hassan, other than Mark Cuban and some idiots like that every once in a while. Most rich people lean more right wing. Of course, most rich people who are independent donators are going to donate to Republicans because you would be an idiot if you are rich and you are a left winger. You're just an idiot because they want to take more of your tax dollars. You know, they want socialism. They don't want you to be, they hate rich people. So of course that's the case. Joe Rogan is talking about big corporations, like you said, Google, Meta, these big corporations. It makes complete sense what he's saying, but Sam Seder is going to use this to make him look like an idiot.
oh. The chart that he saw was not about these corporations giving money. It was probably the workers at these corporations. Okay? And he doesn't know that. Look, he doesn't need, he only takes from data what he needs to verify or validate what his right-wing friends that he all hangs around with, whether it's at the mothership or wherever it is, what they tell him, which they also don't spend any time looking it up. So he saw this chart, Facebook, Google, bar graph. They give, look at that, 70% goes to Democrats. Not, it's the people who work there. It's the workers. Go ahead.
I don't think it is the workers. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this unhinged meltdown here from Sam Seder caused by Joe Rogan just stating facts, like straight up. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch here. Let me know if I'm off base in the comments. Do you agree with Sam Seder here, or do you agree with Joe Rogan? Obviously, I'm on the side of Joe Rogan, but I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say about this Joe Rogan versus Sam Seder situation.